Okay. Before we get into the one and only Bill Cooper and Project Bluebeam, I'm going to go to one of so-called originators of this theory, even though it technically predated him. The one and only Serge Monast. Born on an unknown day. So he was born in the year 1945, allegedly. He died December 5th, 96. He was a Canadian investigative journalist, poet, essayist, and conspiracy theorist. He is known to English-speaking readers mainly for originating the conspiracy theory Project Bluebeam, which, again, we're going to get into whether he was really the one who originated it or not, which concerns an alleged plot to facilitate a totalitarian world government by destroying traditional religions and replacing them with a New Age belief system using NASA technology.
Oh, of course, because there's something you could spoke reality on.
Biography. In the 70s and 80s, Monast was a journalist, poet, and essayist. He was an active member of the Social Credit Party of Canada. In the early 90s, he started writing on the theme of the New World Order and conspiracies hatched by secret societies, being particularly inspired by the works of William Guy Carr. We're not going to get into him for now. Monast founded the International Free Press Agency, the AIPL, where he published most of his work on these themes, achieving some prominence with an interview on esoterist and ufologist Richard Glenn's TV show Esoterism Experimental, in which he repeatedly warned his audience about the dangers of a world government. He was interviewed by Glenn a number of times up to 1996. In 94, he published Project Bluebeam, in parentheses NASA, in which he detailed his claim that NASA, with the help of the United Nations, was attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via technologically simulated second coming of Christ. He also gave talks on the topic. Other conspiracy theorists have noted the similarity of Project Bluebeam to the plots of Gene Roddenberry's unreleased 1975 Star Trek movie treatment, The God Thing, and 1991 Star Trek Next Generation episode, Devil's Due. In 1995, he published his most detailed work, Les Protocoles de Toronto 6.6.6, modeled upon the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, whereas he said a Masonic group called 6.6.6 had for 20 years been gathering the world's powerful to establish the New World Order and control the minds of individuals. By 95 and 96, Monast said he was being hunted by the police and the authorities for involvement in networks of prohibited information. He had homeschooled his 2 children, where they were taken away and made wards of the state in 96 so that they would receive a public education. He died of a heart attack in his home in December 96 at the age of 51, the day after being arrested and a night in jail. His followers claim his death was suspicious, suggesting he was assassinated by psychotronic weapons to keep from continuing his investigations, and that Jerry Fletcher, the Mel Gibson character in the 1997 film Conspiracy Theory, was modeled on him. Copies of his work still circulate on the internet and have influenced such later conspiracy theorists as American evangelical preacher Tex Mars. Some of his later works have been reissued by French publisher and conspiracy theorist Jacques Delacroix, along with others writing on the themes of Monast's conspiracy-related works. So let's digest all of this, and first of all, what are your general thoughts on Monast? And also, can you give us more information on these alleged psychotronic weapons? I'm sure they're referring to the heart attack gun and things of that nature.
Well, first of all, I want some gravy. Second of all, Bruce, I'm not really going to get into any particular, conspiracy theories. I mean, I think we should probably do, if you wanted to do, I think it would be to our interest to do a NORAD podcast. That might put some of this to bay, but I don't know. I mean, keep going.
Well, what about psychotronic weapons? Do you have... Do you have anything to say?
I'm not gonna get into anything that I know about. I mean, all I know is like, look, all right, so. I mean, I can't really talk about any particular things, but like, let's just say that, like, you know, in terms of the Air Force has done a lot of things over the years. Okay, so I mean, you know, like, and there's been a lot of experimentation. I mean, look at the movie Men That Stare Goats. You know, I mean, like, you know, so the government is willing to do a lot of things with your tax dollars. You know, because it wants the upper hand, and you know, like. Am I going to deny the existence of psychotropic? No, I'm not. Am I going to talk about them? No, not really. But yes, I will agree that it's been explored, and it has. And to the MINDSHOCK listeners that, you know, really pound the dirt hard enough, and, you know, like, I'm sure we've got at least one listener from Anonymous out there, you know, maybe they'll be able to post a comment.
So let's examine Monast's protocols here, the Toronto protocols. Here's an Amazon book review. I actually haven't read them, so I don't know if you have, but here's the summary.
No, I don't read any of this shit.
So
I'm sorry to Manaz or whatever. It sounds like some sort of shit for my fucking SATs. Like, you know, like. I have to take the Manaz primer.
On book reviewers, staggering. Everybody needs to know what's in this book. Translation from French in part.
Wow, is it a verified purchase? I mean, don't tell.
Can you let me read this and then you can give your thoughts?
I'll let you read the Amazon review of an ebook. Sure, no problem.
I believe this is a reviewer from the hard copy. But anyway, everyone needs to know what's in this book. Translation from French in two parts, one from 1967 and one from 1985. These Masonic plans, discovered and published in 95 by French journalist Serge Monast, were dismissed at the time as a wild, impossible conspiracy against humanity. Serge Monast died within a year of publishing, age 51, just one day after being released from jail. Seeing with 20/20 hindsight, you see what they did there? They cannot now be so dismissed. Herein every bad thing which has befallen us is detailed and its wicked purpose described. You find plans to crack families apart, introduce promiscuous behavior, diminish skills, manage science, history, and religion, leave children rootless, and make them belong more to the state than the family, challenge the male-female paradigm, alter sexuality. I mean, was this guy ahead of his time in the early...
Well, no, actually, he was probably behind it. I mean, like, you know, this is all in, like, the French Revolution, but keep going.
Make sexual satisfaction more important than love, diminish bonds of love, nullify God, heaven, and spirituality, delete the idea of souls, manage the weather to cause catastrophes. I mean, was he whistleblowing on HARP? Poison food with chemical and genetic means, weaken health and intellect using an alternative word for injections, and other medication, harmful frequencies, damage to the unborn, in decrease of fertility, leisure as a corroding pastime, films and media to corrupt minds, making man a slave to his senses, the diminution of parental influence and power, child power, unemployment, transfer of employment to third world, death of social harmony, austerity budgets, control policing, get rid of old experienced and bring in young police, transfer of military from national to UN control, UN judiciary and global databases, denaturing of common foods. There is much more than this, but it is terrifyingly close to what has happened. It is almost complete. It's a small book worth your time and money. It could save us if enough people know. No matter where it came from, to see it from 2020 and where we have come to since it was published clearly confirms it as a true plan. I mean, that is some damning predictions there, and we're going to get into Bill Cooper in a moment, who, if anybody that's read Behold the Pale Horse...
Well, he clearly didn't like America very much, but, like, my question is, I have a beer with the guy, if, like, you know, I could hear what he thought about Lafayette, we're here.
Well, before you interrupted me, I was mentioning Bill Cooper's Behold the Pale Horse also had these stunning predictions. I mean, let's go over Bill Cooper's 9/11 prediction just for the coincidence theorists that want to write this off as coincidence. I mean, you mentioned math at the beginning. Let's figure out mathematically what the statistical chances of what he said about 9/11 actually being true, given infinite probabilities. So he stated on June 28th, 2001, so this is mere months before 9/11, whatever's going to happen, they're going to blame it on Osama bin Laden. Don't you even believe it. The CIA created bin Laden. They recruited him, they trained him, they found his leadership. They are now using him to help bring about world government by making him the big boogeyman because they can't use Saddam Hussein anymore. I mean, that's kind of curious that in June he called bin Laden being blamed for some big event.
Right, but I mean, again, like, okay, so he was a shill, like, and that guy knew it. That doesn't necessarily prove, I mean, the fact is, wait, before we look at the coincidence theorists, okay, the fact is that these were real physical people, and real physical things happened to real physical individuals. Okay, we agree on that, on both sides. Okay, these weren't virtual people that died. They were real people. Whether or not it was a planned demolition, or whether it was really terrorists, or whether it was, you know, to stimulate the economy, or whatever your belief is, the fact is that actual people perished and continue to perish from the incident.
Well, if you want to be intellectually honest, you also have to mention the people that were claimed to have perished that didn't perish, that are still alive.
But I mean, again, we go back to mathematics. The odds are that there are people that are going to lie. People are going to tell the truth most of the time, based on trend.
The official death list released by the government has people that became journalists for CNN. Let's not get into that. Okay.
So here's another quote from Behold a Pale Horse, his infamous book, of course, which most of it has already come true now. The government encouraged the manufacture and importation of military firearms for the criminals to use. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity, which would lead the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms. Using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion, the CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. The plan is well underway and so far is working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment. And you know what's kind of insane? I mean, this book was published in what, 1991?
This is pre-Columbine. If you haven't checked out the Columbine conspiracy series on MINDSHOCK, it is the most comprehensive analysis of the Columbine shooting and the possible government connections to it. And then, of course, there's certain shady situations regarding influence on the shooters in various different school shootings. So do you believe there's some truth to what Bill Cooper's saying here, where the CIA or government agents are actively involved in kind of manipulating, in I guess, a Manchurian-style candidate fashion to get people to just shoot up schools in order to cause this destabilization and the removal of the Second Amendment?
Okay, so I won't speak to the destabilization and the Second Amendment, but when it comes to Manchurian-style manipulations, I do agree. And the reason why is because I believe in Jonestown, and I believe those people were exterminated by the government. I believe there was an MK Ultra experiment. And that's one of the few things that I've actually just openly talked about, and it's because I have firsthand knowledge of what was going on there. And if you really read between the lines and you really look at the sub-documentation, but moreover, like, you know, the people that I've personally dealt with in Maryland, you know, that was really sketch. And I believe in that the government is capable of doing those types of things. Now, to do it to youth and to do it in a school situation, that's deep. I mean, as a father, that's deep. Do I believe that? I'd like to think that they don't. So, you know, I mean, I really, because I know people in very high places, and I'd like to think that they have scruples. So, is it possible? Yes. I mean, anything's possible. We've been talking about possibility this whole conversation. Do I think that they did that? I think that the MINDSHOCK listeners should heed. I think they should listen to the podcasts. I think they should review the evidence for themselves. And I think that they should make up their own mind. I personally would like to think that we don't do that. But there have been instances where we have. So that's something where, as a MINDSHOCK listener, you'd have to explore the evidence and make up your own mind, personally.
Here's the full quote from Bill Cooper on June 28, 2001. Be prepared for a major attack, but it won't be Osama bin Laden. It will be those behind the New World Order. Whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you believe it? So what's curious, so he says that June 28, 2001, September 11, 2001, Osama bin Laden is blamed for 9/11. November 5th, 2001, Milton Cooper is shot dead. So is it a coincidence that all of these three events happened in the same year?
Yes and no, probably. I mean, here's the thing. To say that there's going to be an event by the New World Order is broad. I mean, you know, there's a lot of gurus. I mean, the same thing to be said about you predicting the stock market, Bruce. Sometimes you're going to be right. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you're going to be wrong. The ones that are right, they look like geniuses, and they build really big, you know, institutions, and they end up making a lot of money. The ones that are wrong, well, you never hear about them. So, Bill Cooper was right. Whether he had firsthand knowledge, you know, see, it's difficult to explain this to younger listeners, because the fact that he had that level of firsthand knowledge says something. In today's world, you got to look at, like, you know, the younger MINDSHOCK listeners, they're not going to have as much respect for what you're personally saying, because in his time, in that time, to know that, to predict that, there were no computer systems predicting that in that type of capacity. You know, your average 20-year-old that's listening to this doesn't really understand that that technology was not available to the public like it is today. Like, you could just ask AI, hey, you know, what do you think? Like, it didn't exist. So for him to know the specific person is compelling. Whether or not I'm going to disclose to you what, you know, the government thought in 2001 about Osama bin Laden, I'm not going to tell you that. But what I will say is that that's a very hush-hush thing, and at that particular point in history, I think that's quite fascinating. I'd like to look at the man's whole life.
Well, actually,
and I think maybe perhaps we should explore him.
Yeah, we're gonna do that in a minute, but let's just finish up with Serge Monast here. Here's an interesting post on the conspiracy subreddit. Did Serge Monast, the original theorist behind Project Bluebeam, a fake alien invasion, get everything right? ? I believe that Monast.
I'll also say this. This is making me crave some Freedom Fries right now, or what are the French fry Freedom Fries, right?
Come on.
Keep going.
So this is posted by Ua Cantona. I believe that Monast's version of Project Bluebeam is very interesting, but I find it hard to believe every single element of it. I think there is enough information to suggest that a fake alien invasion may happen, but every single element of his theory not so sure. Here are some theories on what may have happened. Was Monast possibly a government agent who theorized Project Bluebeam publicly, but added a lot of extra stuff in order to stop people from taking it too seriously in case anything was leaked in the future by a more credible source? What do you think about that? Some people think the same about Alex Jones, that he's some kind of shill, and he's got this larger-than-life crazy persona so people don't take him seriously while he leaks these nuggets of truth, if there are any.
Well, I mean, see, that's a very delicate dance, Bruce, because, I mean, like, let's look at it from devil's advocate perspective. Let's say that he's a shill. Let's say he's a fraud. Well, any fraud worth his cup of flour, there's always going to be that veneer of truth, right? So even if he was a fraud or was a shill, we can't discredit 100%, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So even then, there's something there that's tangible.
Well, let me ask you.
I mean, supposing.
Let me ask you this. In the, whatever, 80s, he's alleging that he has these Freemason documents or Masonic documents or whatever from the 60s and 80s. And he kind of devised all of this from those documents released in the 90s, in the early to mid-90s, 95, 96. And so do you believe that he got most of this information from those documents and not having been a government agent? I mean, what are the chances that he has this level of accuracy if we're trusting the French translation? Again, if any MINDSHOCK listeners out there have his original books in the original French and can verify the translation we got from the Amazon reviewer, if any MINDSHOCK listeners...
Or at least provide us with original copies of the French translation, and we'll provide our own, certified translation.
Yeah, just as a quick reference, if those claims are true, I mean, that's...
Like by a third party.
If those claims are true, I mean, that level of accuracy, I mean, he's up there with Bill Cooper with that level.
Well, he's up there with fucking Socrates, but, like, I mean, the fact is that, like, the possibility exists that, he just got lucky. I mean, based on mathematics, it's possible, but unlikely. Yeah. Now you're entering the other side of the equation, Bruce. Now you're entering the other side of the equation. The mathematical likelihood of him.
Again, the mathematical likelihood is impossible due to unknown variables. However, just based.
My algebra teacher is really like a curb stop to you.
No, I'm going to beat down your algebra teacher if you don't stop talking about your algebra teacher. So, if they're still alive, but
I hope. She used to talk to me all the time when I was a little boy. I mean, we're going back years here. We're going back decades. But she always talked about going to the Cayman Islands. I hope she finally went to that turtle farm. I realized she had like this little boy. Like she always used to talk about how she was going to retire out there. I hope she did.
Okay, I hope she did too. But stop mentioning her. Okay, so.
Maybe she was. Watch her be the one that's fucking abducted, right? Like, watch her be part of some sort of interdimensional conspiracy.
All right. So with Monast here, what are we talking? I don't think he could have gotten that lucky, because if people get that lucky, there should be way more people with those kinds of predictions. Because I mean, before Bill Cooper. I just do not recall, because Bill Cooper seems to have almost never missed. There was one or two things about aliens and UFOs, which we're about to get into with Bill Cooper, but his accuracy is astronomical. Same thing with Alex Jones, too. Did Alex Jones just really get that lucky with his predictions about, frogs turning gay and all the estrogenics in the water? Then all of a sudden, within, 5 years, there's scientific studies about the hormones with frogs specifically and all that. The guy talks he obviously...
Okay, all right. Well, when it comes...
wait. I need to finish. You interrupt me too much. So clearly Alex Jones has some kind of insider sources. Are we to believe that Serge Monast just...
So does the fucking National Enquirer, Bruce. I mean, that don't mean... I mean, yeah, a lot of the shit that they say turns true, too. That doesn't necessarily make them a credible...
Well, let's not...
I mean, he's also got his own, you know... He's got to make a limit.
I've been trying to lay out these two theories about Monast for like at least 5 minutes now. Can we stop talking about your algebra teacher in the National Enquirer for just 30 seconds so I can finish this point?
I wonder if Miss Ann ever watched or read the National Enquirer.
So...
She hated me, too, by the way.
Can you
She fucking hated me.
Did you also interrupt her every 2 seconds? In class?
Nah, I was one of these people that didn't do shit and then like got hundreds on her test.
Okay.
I was failing her class, even though I got hundreds on her test. She gave me no class participation.
Are you really going to be the first?
Anyway.
Are you really going to be the first MindShock co-podcaster that actually gets muted on air?
Well, you could. I mean, you know. Okay, Bruce. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was insulting you.
Go ahead. You're not insulting me. You're just interrupting me every 3. I can't even get 20 seconds of talk time. So
Go ahead.
Are we to believe that Monast here if he came up with all of this by himself, why aren't there all these other people that came up with it by themselves if it's that easy to just pull it out of the ether? So clearly, again, between Alex Jones, Bill Cooper, there's some kind of inside line they must have had, unless they're just the greatest geniuses in the history of Earth, which I don't know. Again, they obviously have a certain level of...
Well, they're French, so they think they are.
I don't think Alex Jones or Bill Cooper are French. I'm talking about all of them. So clearly they have a certain level of intelligence, but I don't know if I would put it so stratospheric as to where they can come up with it. Now, with Jacques Vallée and his UFO theories, maybe. I mean, that guy was clearly a smart guy, and I guess he was French too. So anyway, with Serge Monast here, what kind of an inside line did he have? Did he simply discover this information from documents he stumbled upon? Or was he himself a government agent and then either went rogue or as part of some kind of mind control experiments or otherwise was being used as some kind of shill himself to leak a certain amount of information for the sole purpose of having it be discredited? Finally, I got my point across. There you go, JR. You can... well,
let me ask you a question, Bruce. Who said for 1 second that, like, you know, he went rogue? I mean, have you seen the first fucking 10 minutes of Fun with Dick and Jane? I mean, who said that he wasn't told to go out there and say this to the fucking public?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I gave several different possibilities.
Right. I mean, you know, like, I mean, it covers again, it's the government. One department covers their ass. Hey, we told everyone. This is what's happening. Well, it was top secret. Well, you know, like, we just let them know subtly. You know, like, it's kind of like, okay, so, well, maybe I shouldn't get into this. There was one time I was promoted, okay? They had to legally post the posting for 5 days. They posted it on the men's room door, on the opposite side of the stall. So, like, yeah, like, they posted it. I got the promotion, because they already knew who was going to fucking be promoted. It's the government. And you know they don't owe shit. Like, you know, you're in or you're out. You have to jump in. You get jumped in. It's like a game. But there's a government.
All right. So that was irrelevant to anything I said. But okay, continuing this person's post here. So did Monast get everything?
Well, it wasn't relevant, but you want to know their process and their line of thought. I'm just letting you know that that's the way it works. So if he's a shill, yeah, okay. But, I mean, you know, there's a lot of shills out there. But, you know, maybe he didn't go rogue. Maybe he was told this by his supervisor. Hey, go out there and say this.
No,
this is what's going on.
Yeah, I outlined several different scenarios. I don't know why you're obsessing with one versus the other instead of just addressing all of them.
I'm not. I'm just agreeing with you.
Then why are you saying, well, who said he went rogue? I didn't say he rogue.
Because most of these times you ask me these questions, and I tell you, Bruce, I can't answer that, or I'm not at liberty to say that. In this case, I'm agreeing with you. You're not used to that.
That's
why this is so hard for you.
this isn't hard for me. You're asking who said he went rogue. I didn't say he went rogue. I outlined several different scenarios and asked for your input, and you just kind of, you addressed it as if I claimed he went rogue. I outlined several different possibilities.
Okay, I was addressing that to the people that haven't listened to every podcast of us arguing about this type of shit.
I'm asking questions.
Go ahead. I won't interrupt. I'll wait for you to tell me to talk. Go ahead.
Well, so you don't have an opinion, so you think it's more likely that he was a shill than a government agent rogue. But are you saying you find, like, what, just your expertise and experience, what is your inclination about Serge Monast? I realize you haven't stated you knew the guy personally or you knew anybody that knew him. You appear to have not known who he was. So regardless of that, correct me if I'm wrong on that and you actually did know who he was, or if you're not allowed to say. But regardless, let's say this is a hypothetical situation with a hypothetical guy that hypothetically wrote a book leaking this hypothetical information that turned out to be true. What is the likelihood that he is a shill based on the accuracy of the information?
Well, okay, so if I was a video game designer, there would be some sort of, like, fancy subplot that would involve all kinds of crazy shit. But my experience as a government worker, he probably had, like, some cousin that, like, you know, worked for environmental services at some fucking building in France. Because, I mean, when was the last time we heard France and, you know, any type of world event in the same sentence? And he came across this knowledge because he was dumping a garbage can because they were throwing a fucking, you know, department party, and happened to come across this information and relate it to his cousin while they were having a couple of beers, you know, in the pub down the street. That's probably what actually happened. But
wow.
In terms of keeping...
That was so oddly specific. Can you confirm or deny that it almost sounded like you know exactly how he got his information from that? You didn't even skip a beat on that scenario.
Well, I mean...
Hey, wait, hold on. JR, do all I have to do is add a bunch of hypotheticals and then you actually give the real information? Is that all I have to do? Because that theory makes a lot of sense. I have to say, that theory makes a whole lot of sense.
I'm not at liberty to move forward, Bruce. You got your nugget for this fucking podcast. You know, I mean, you want to try to pull it out of me, that's fine. But I mean, like, you know, you asked me an honest question, I gave you an honest answer. Like, you know,
all right, well, there you
know, that was the situation at hand. I mean,
yeah, that's a scenario I didn't even think of. But yes, if he had some kind of contact, family member, whoever, that somehow came across either government documents or these Masonic documents or whatever, and then he came into possession of them and then wrote his book based off of that, that would explain how he had some insider knowledge, so to speak. So let's, all right. Well,
let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if you work for the government. It doesn't matter if you're listening to this podcast in prison. Okay, environmental services, they're the lifeline. Okay, they go into every office and they dump every garbage can. Okay, whether or not you tie it beforehand, because there's a special tape you put. Well, I guess I shouldn't talk about that, but there's a special way of disposing of, you know, like stuff. You know, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they have, you know, they go into they've got a key card that accesses every door. I mean, there's IT and stuff. But, I mean, honestly, like, you know, if you work for the government, and, you know, like, I do, and I know the way it works, you know, like, and I hate to really say this, because, I mean, you want a piece of honest government information. We throw pretty decent, you know, Christmas parties and shit. You know, we're not really focused on work during certain parts of the year. You know, like, shit happens, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're rolling the garbage can around, you know, these people, they buzz around because the food is there, and, you know, like, they come to the office. Let's just put it this way, Bruce. All right, like, the environmental services people, there are days that my garbage can lays dormant for days, weeks. But during the holiday season, when the food is around, they dump the garbage can 6 times a day. Because, like, the shit, I mean, it's like a mini wedding. All right, so, I mean, you know, like, maybe they saw something or took a phone, you know, picture or something. Well, not in his time. You know, there was probably documents. But, I mean, you know, like, all the facilities.
They're Polaroid.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, you know, I'm not going to get into specifics of, you know, like, I mean, like, how do you think the CIA works? Do you think that they have some high-powered dude that goes there and, you know, the boss and, you know, he's extraordinary? No, they got some guy in a fucking dumpster with cameras, you know, just sitting amongst the dirty diapers of the fucking, you know, tenement next door taking photographs. That's the way the fucking CIA works. I'm really sorry. If you don't believe that, then you shouldn't be listening to this. You think I'm fake? That's the way that this really happens, okay? I mean, like, that's just, you want to talk about dream factories on Mars and all this other crap. Okay, fine. Call me an asshole, all right? I don't believe in any of that, but, I mean, you know, like Lear does. That's a whole separate thing.
If
you want to know how the CIA works from my perspective, it's fucking, you know, people walking around.
Let me ask you this.
I mean...
No, let me ask you this. Do you believe that John Lear believes?
John Lear is of a different... He's a very wealthy, indentured, enriched person. Okay, so his experiences might be different. For me, the next time, you know, you go to your local Starbucks, really look at your barista. That's the CIA, okay? It ain't no dream factory on Mars. There's no secret Manchurian can. They pick these innocuous people that roll in between department to department. That's how this fucking information gets passed. It's not. It's like a prison. You want to know how the CIA works? First, watch fucking Lock Up Raw. That's how you know how the CIA works, okay? Or watch the you know, the first half of the Shawshank Redemption. That's how the CIA works, all right? You know, there's a guy that can get it for you. Yeah, because he rolls a scum bucket. Like, that's how it works.
You didn't answer the question. Do you believe that John Lear believes his own claim?
I think that John Lear is a complete nut, personally. And I personally believe that, yes, he does. Because he can afford to.
Well, I mean, he already passed,